If you're looking at the grin on my face and wondering what I'm grinning about today, is that I've just watched a beautiful video of the Black Caps announcing their T20 World Cup squad using a couple of kids to come up with the names. It was a heartwarming video, it was a feel good video, and something that the Black Caps creative team always come up with, which is different and nice. Well, what wasn't different and nice was what Delhi did today in their game against KKR. Because after showing us real glimpses of some real talent and real passion in their last couple of games, they've just fallen apart completely in a horribly, horribly one sided game. Sarvesh, this is not the kind of game you need at this time in the tournament.
Yeah. Now they have got just 3 games with them, and they need to pick up at least 6 points. I mean, that's the maximum that they can get to. But I think even with those 6 points, it looks very difficult for Delhi because primarily you need to get to 16 points, and then you need to you have to hope that people will end up with net run rate below you, because it can happen that two teams may end up on the same number of points, that is 16 points, and it can happen this season as well, because we know that there are some teams who are, like, if you see that the mid-table model, Lucknow, Hyderabad, Chennai, they all have got 10 points from 9 games, and now Delhi basically have 10 points from 11 games, so
11 games.
2 games extra played. I think that is going to be a difficult task for them now. They needed these 2 points very badly, and had they got those 2 points today, they would have been on third position by the end of this day. I mean, can you imagine? They were 10th, ninth in last 10, 12 days, and from there they have now actually they had a chance to get to third. So I think they needed these 2 points very badly. KKR, I mean, KKR didn't have to win this game because KKR were they are comfortably placed on second position. But I think Delhi, they needed those 2 points, and it didn't happen for them. Now it looks very difficult for them, primarily because again, now if you look at this chart, you will see that they will have to play against LSG as well. Then they have 2 games. One of those games is against RR, who are now currently table toppers. So again, that's a difficult game to come up. And then one game's against RCB, who are also in a good form. They are in bottom two, but they are in a good form at the moment. And then that game against LSG. So they had to pick up 2 points today. It could not happen. But now, if you look at the CSK, SRH, and the LSG games, then you will realize that these guys have slightly better fixtures in their hand. I think these teams will back themselves to finish in that top four.
I think even if everything falls their way, that net run rate of
Yeah,
negative
yeah,
0.442 is going to be the cruncher.
yeah,
So yeah, very, very difficult. I mean, mathematically still possible, but
yeah,
realistically, I think it's impossible for them to
yeah,
make it to the top four now.
yeah.
If we go back to that math summary, I mean, one of the things that stands out when Kuldeep Yadav is your top scorer with 35 of 26 with the bat, it just tells you that it's been a horrible, horrible day as far as a batting effort is concerned for DC. I mean, nothing went right for them. They were used to getting all those fantastic starts from Jake Fraser McGurk, but he had a failure today. I won't say a failure, but then he didn't get going today. Um, Team selection wise, last game they dropped Prithvi Shaw. They brought him back this game. I honestly don't know what's going
Yeah.
on there, and there's been no clarification from them about it either. So we don't know what's happening in that space. But it was a struggle right through the innings. Rishabh Pant 27 of 20, Abhishek Purel 18 of 15, Aksar Patel 21 deliveries for his 15, getting stuck in the middle of that innings there. And yeah, just that innings never got out of second gear.
Yeah, I mean, the law, we say that this is basically a law of averages, where you get stuck in one of those games. That's why you say that you have to get going at the beginning. Otherwise, in the end, you cannot afford to have such bad days. And I think DC were in a good form right now, but they eventually now got to this bad day. And I think now that basically ends their hopes of top four. So that's what can happen if you don't get going at the beginning. And now coming back to their batting performance, I think we have seen this template this season, that some teams, they like to bat first and then they look to score big. If you look at SRH, what they are doing, if you look at DC, and in last few games, they are a team who will always look to bat first. then pile on a big score of 240 to 50, and then make it impossible for the opponents to chase. So basically, they will look to bat their opponents out. So that's the strategy that these guys are employing at the moment. But there is some risk involved in this. What happens is when you bat first and look to score big every time, sometimes it cannot come off on a pitch where 180 is a par score, which I felt today. I think 170 to 180 looked like a par score on this wicket. But if you look to get 220 on a pitch where 180 is par, then you end up taking those extra risks, and then you cannot even get to 160. That is exactly what happened today. So that's the evident risk that you take when you look to bat your opponents out by batting first. So that's the risk that they had to take. They took that risk and it didn't come off for them. So I think end of the day, tactically, I won't say that they made a mistake by batting first. I think it was a calculated risk which didn't go their way. So I think they will still feel that okay, they did what they had to do. And like you said, when Kuldeep Yadav is your top scorer, it becomes very difficult for you. I felt at one stage that they wouldn't even get to 130, but Kuldeep Yadav,
Yep.
he managed to stretch them to a 153. So I think that's good from him.
I think the other thing when you look at that betting card also is you just look at the positioning where the batters have come in today, and you look at your team sheet and you think who are my match winners, who are capable of giving me the most runs, who have been successful for me in the past. And you look at Prithvi Shaw and you look at Jake Fraser McGurk. Yes, they should bat at the top because they're capable of taking the game on in that power play. But people like Rishabh Pant is your core, Tristan Stubbs is your core, and Akshar Patel. But Tristan Stubbs today, batting at number 7, just and I know they're trying to use him in a particular role or whatever. And if Abhishek Porel and Shai Hope had come off, then we wouldn't be talking about this. But just the percentage game that you talk about, who is more likely to give me runs? Is it Rishabh Pant or is it Abhishek Porel? Is it Rishabh Pant or is it Shai Hope? Is it Akshar Patel or is it Abhishek Porel? Is it Tristan Stubbs or is it Shai Hope? Those are the kind of questions that you need to ask yourself when you're deciding. Give your best batters the opportunity to bat out the most number of balls because that gives you the chance of getting the most out of them. And we keep humming and ahhing about this, but teams still keep getting it wrong. And yeah, the result is in front of us today.
Yeah, I think that they look to manage the entry points of some of the batters. I think they felt that Kristen Stubbs is better when he bats in those last 5-6 overs. I think that's the role that they have given to him. But I think in a game like this, when nothing goes your way, I think this is just one of the things that didn't go their way. I think they could have used him in a better manner. But I think today, keeping him as for the back end, I won't blame them again for this, because I felt they needed to just keep him for those death overs, and then they would have hoped from distance subs to get to a quick 40 from 20 or delivery. So that would have given them a massive boost at the back end. They would have probably ended up with 180, which they would have preferred at one point in time. So I think that was the strategy. But I think in games like this, Tristan Stubbs is still a new and unknown commodity. I think even he needs some time on tricky pitches like this. So I think they miscalculated that a bit. I think they could have probably sent him at least after Rishabh Pant before Akshar Patel. That's one mistake I felt they did today, and I think they paid a heavy price for this.
If everything went wrong for Delhi Capitals, most of it went right for KKR with the ball.
Yeah.
Everybody coming up with great figures. But let's start with the elephant in the room. Mitchell Stark, in a game of 153, still finds a way to go for 43 from his 3 overs.
Yeah.
Would you just put it down to he bowling in the power play and running into a red hot Prithvi Shaw and a red hot
Yeah.
Fraser McGurk?
I mean, yeah, those 2 overs, I think that's where the damage was done. But I think at the end of the day, they will feel that Mitchell Stark got Fraser McGurk out, and then Webber Aurora, he took those 2 critical wickets up front. So I think yesterday what we saw from Tushar Deshpande, he took those 3 wickets, and that he eventually killed that game for CSK. And SRH were again, they were chasing for the entire time. They couldn't get going after that. I think today what happened was Webber Aurora and Mitchell Stark, these guys took those 3 wickets in power play, and I think that was that. Then DC just couldn't get going after that. Then they were chasing. Then I saw Rishabh Pant batting in a very weird manner today. I felt he was playing way too many fall shot. He wasn't looking at his best. So I think they were always chasing that game after after the 3 power play blows that Webber Aurora and Mitchell Stark did. So I think I still feel that I will still feel that Stark did his job by dismissing Fraser McGurk out early, because had he stayed on paper, they would have probably gone to another quick start. So I think he did his job, but I think, like you said, they will still hope for better returns from him. I mean, this hasn't happened till now. This was their, I think, 10th game of the season. Sorry, ninth game of the season. It hasn't happened yet, but I think they will hope that he will learn from this, and then it will come off eventually in the business end.
We also saw the Varun Chakravarti of
Yeah,
old today. This is what got him that India cap. 4 overs, 16 runs, 3 wickets. He was bowling beautifully. It was coming out well. It was landing perfectly, and just the when I saw him bowl today, I found that that mystery element, which was missing in his bowling, seemed to be coming back today.
yeah.
Which I think both Akshar and Rishabh Pant, both batting in those middle overs, found really difficult to cope with.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that wicket of I think Rishabh Pant was the key there. I was looking at the numbers. Rishabh Pant he normally scores at just about run a ball against Varun Chakravarti. Before this game, he has scored 20-22 runs against Varun Chakravarti at just about run a ball. That tells you that he's somebody who struggles to pick Varun Chakravarti. I'm not saying that he's a bad player against off spin, but normally it can happen sometimes against a few bowlers that you just don't take too much risk, because he has dismissed Rishabh Pant twice, and he has given away only about 20 to 22 runs. Today was just another day for Varun Chakravarti. He dismissed him thrice now, and he hasn't given anything away to Rishabh Pant. Strike rate is still about 100. So that tells you that Varun Chakravarti is somebody who knows how to bowl against Rishabh Pant. Last game we saw Jasprit Bumrah doing that to Rishabh Pant. Again, he had a similar. He had a good record against Rishabh Pant and then dismissed him. Again today we saw Varun Chakravarti doing the same. So I think sometimes these matchups work. Sometimes we we make a joke about them that okay, you don't have to look too much into the matches, but sometimes it works as well. So I think full marks were in there, and I think after that Rishabh Pant's wicket, I think he was bowling in fifth gear, sixth gear probably, because he wasn't giving anything away. 13 dot balls out of 24 deliveries tells you that he was bowling at his probably. This is the best of Varun Chakravarti that I saw today or saw this season. I think he hasn't bowled like this for a long time now.
Yeah, it's a good point you make about the dot balls, because when you add up all the dot balls that were bowled by the KKR bowlers today,
Yeah,
they add up to 57, which is almost 50%
yeah,
of the total balls that were played.
yeah,
If you're not scoring of half of the deliveries that you're playing, then you're always going to struggle. I mean, there are many ways to look at where it all went wrong.
yeah,
But even if they'd managed to get about singles
yeah.
of half the number
Half.
of dot balls that they had, they would probably have 30 runs more,
Yeah,
which is what you're saying is
par
could have been
score.
a par
So,
score on this wicket. Well, that was the story of the KKR bowling. When they came out to bat, it was all guns blazing. Again, nothing going right for Delhi with the ball also. Um, I think the game was over in that first over, which went for 18. There were
yeah,
wides, there were no balls, there were sixes, there were fours, and Lizard Williams just absolutely nothing going for right. And in that second over, he drops an
yeah,
absolute dolly. Um, so yeah, when things don't go right for you,
yeah.
they go horribly wrong, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, he dropped Phil Salt, and he was batting, I think, on 12 or 15 at that time. So after that, he went on and added how many 50, 55 runs after that. So I think you can say that they would have probably taken this match to 17, 18th or 19th over had they completed that catch, but that didn't happen. You rightly said, Williams had a very poor game today. In the last match against Mumbai Indians, he was looking good. He was getting that bounce. He actually managed to make Rohit Sharma uncomfortable on that bouncer. So that was the highlight for me, because not a lot of bowlers have managed to do that, but he did it. He did that. But I think today, nothing went in his way, and I think Phil Salt, when he's in that kind of form, it reminds me of Chris Lynn playing in that KKR jersey. That's the similarity that I could I could feel today, because he used to do the same thing. He used to kill those games in power play. That used to be his job. I think Phil Salt is somebody. I think he is going to do that for them, and they will hope that he keeps doing that for the rest of the season.
I read a tweet today which said that England are going to announce their provisional 15-man squad probably today or tomorrow. How scary is England's top order looking
Yeah,
with Phil Salt, Joss Butler, Will
Will
Jacks
Jacks.
in that top three? Is there a better top three in world cricket right now?
I think I think we'll have to analyze all the teams, but I think yeah, this top three looks scary. I don't know if Australia will pick Fraser McGurk or not. I don't know if they will have Fraser McGurk, Mitchell Marsh, and probably Stoinis could bat up for them. I don't know if they are going to go with this team.
Oh,
It
they'll go
looks
with David
difficult.
Warner.
Yeah,
David
David
Warner
Warner.
will be one.
They
Yeah,
will stick
so
with him.
David Warner will be there. Yeah.
I don't think they'll go with Fraser McGurk so early. So I think yeah, I mean still, I mean Australia and England, they are having this top order which is absolutely firing right now. You rightly said, this is a scary proposition for the opponents.
Yeah. One last question on that betting card. I mean, they were chasing only 150 odd, so there's not much to talk about. But do you think the KKR team management is listening to the Sneakometer
Yeah,
podcast?
by sending
Because we said they are not utilizing Rinku Singh
Kusing.
to his full potential. So what do? They bump him up to number three today. Uh, that is, if someone is listening to this podcast from the KKR management, that is not what we meant. We were meaning that you play him at number four or number five, which is likely to be the place that he's going to play for Team India if he does make it to the 15 and does make it to the 11. But yeah, not. Can you explain that decision to our viewers and listeners?
I think they had to send him up today because they were looking to end his game pretty early, because they were also going for that net run rate, because the net run rate was 0.92 yesterday, and CSK are currently on somewhere around 0.81. So there's not a lot of gap in there. But what I feel is that right now KKR have 2 points lead over CSK, who are third, and they have played same number of games. So what could happen is, now with that net run rate which is around 1.1 or something, so they have bettered that net run rate, that they have a lead of 0.33, a net run rate of 0.3 against CSK. That's a huge margin there that they have got. So now what can happen is that even if they lose one game, and even if the CSK manage to win their all, and even if it comes down to that those net run rate that net run rate at the end of the day, and at the end of the league phase, they will feel that they have made some. They have covered this probability up. They are basically saying that now we have this. This is like having those extra 2 points at the end of the league stage when you have net run rate like this. So they had to go for the superior net run rate by chasing this total very early. I felt they had to send one of Rinku Singh or Andre Russell up. They went ahead with Rinku Singh, probably because the opponents have one left arm spinner in Akshar Patel and then Kuldeep Yadav. They felt that they needed a left hander there, and because Sunil Narayan was dismissed, I felt that was the strategy that they employed. Probably they could have sent Andre Russell had Sunil Narayan stayed there and Phil Salt had been dismissed. So I think that was the strategy. But Rinku Singh, I felt that he needed to bat, like we're discussing this, that he needs to bat up, he needs to bat at number 3, number 4. But I think this wasn't a bad time for him to come up. He had his time today. He could have probably spent some more time and then look to do something different. But I think he's slightly in a rough phase right now, because he hasn't been batting that much. So this can happen when your finishers, they don't get to bat for a lot of deliveries. So I think they need to bat him at maybe 3 or 4 in next few games, just to get him get him back in form, because we have seen that even last game we saw when RR utilized Dhruv Jirel in that manner. He scored a 50, and now they are looking like a very threatening batting unit now. So KKR needs to do something similar with Rinku Singh.
Yeah, hopefully, we see the best of Rinku Singh. The Indian team is probably
Yeah,
going to be announced in the next couple of days as well. So just wonder if that played any part in Rinku Singh's promotion. But yeah, we'll wait and watch what happens in that space. Um, for the Delhi Capitals bowling card, I mean, we've already said that nothing went right for them. As you can see, Williams with 38 of his 3 overs, he was all over the place. Um, uh, what was really disappointing for me to see was, yes, Phil Salt was in the mood and he was going great guns, but it looked like these guys were just feeding him deliveries in an area that he loves. I mean, you pitch anything up to Phil Salt, and he has just got this beautiful bat swing that he's going to
yeah,
hit you through the line. Um, Delhi really needed to pick up wickets up front to make
yeah,
a match out of this,
yeah,
and they didn't get that.
yeah. Absolutely. I think when somebody is batting like that, and when you have a small total to defend, I think this can happen. I think last few
Yeah.
games we have seen Rasik Salam doing well, but today he went for 30 runs from his 2.5 overs. That's economy of 12. In last few games he has picked up 6 wickets in 8 overs, and probably those 8 overs turned the match for them. So I think he again finally having another average game. Again, law of averages catching up to the entire DC team. I felt in this match.
Yeah. Akshar Patel, the lone one to come out of that game with his head held high, not with the
Yeah,
bat, but with the ball. Just 25 of his 4 overs, picking up 2 wickets, causing a mini flutter there in the middle of the innings. But nothing much to worry about for KKR, picking up the points, boosting their net run rate, and as we said, on that league table, absolutely comfortable in that second position now.
yeah,
Um, I'm going to go early and say this is curtains for Delhi, although
yeah,
mathematically they're not out of it. I think it's curtains for Delhi as far as this tournament is concerned.
yeah,
And now it's just going to be a race
yeah,
between number 2, 3, 4, 5 for positioning. I think Rajasthan is going to finish top regardless of what happens, but I think it's just going to be 2, 3, 4, 5 that's going to decide who's going to make it to the playoffs and at what position.
yeah. Yeah, you rightly said it because KKR. I mean, they have 5 games to play. They are already on 12 points, so you will feel that because for finishing top two, you would feel that you need at least 18 points. So they are still 3 wins away. So those three for to get those 3 wins, they have 5 games in hand. So basically they can still afford to slip up for in 1 or 2 games, but and they can still manage to end up in top two. So that's the cushion that you get when you start your tournament well. And I think KKR and Rajasthan have done this. They have earned this spot and earned this position. So I think I see that KKR and Rajasthan they can finish in top two. KKR might slip up if something extraordinary happens and CSK then latch onto that second spot because you know what, like some time back we discussed. If you look at the number of games left for CSK and opponents that they are going to face, they will face Punjab twice and Gujarat Titans. Now these two teams are in bottom four. They are placed number 7 and number 8, and then one of those games is against Rajasthan Royals, and then again the final game is against RCB, who are again 10th at the moment. So you would feel, if you are a CSK fan, you would feel that they would at least win 4 out of those 5 matches because of the oppositions that they have and because of the tournaments that their oppositions are having right now. So I think nothing is sealed at the moment, but I think just looking at the opponents and the games are yet to come for them, I think it looks like curtains for Delhi because of the 2 games that they have played extra, and I think the opponents that CSK, SRH, and LSG are going to play that makes it slightly easier for them.
Yeah, it's been a season of 2 halves for Delhi. I mean, in the games that they played well, they look really good. In the games that they have
Yeah,
not played well, they look really bad. There are sparks of brilliance there for them to work on towards next year. But yeah, sadly, I think this year's IPL, this game has proved to be the final nail in the coffin for them.
yeah,
What do we have coming up tomorrow, Sarvesh? Big game.
yeah,
Big game for LSG,
yeah,
not so much for Mumbai, who also I think are going to really struggle. I mean, mathematically they are also in with a chance of qualifying,
yeah,
because they are currently ninth on the table. If they get a win, they get 8 points, which means they should displace Gujarat
Gujarat.
and come to seventh. Whereas LSG, if they get those 2 points tomorrow, they will go into third place,
Yeah,
just behind Kolkata. So big game for LSG. And Mumbai, if they don't win tomorrow, can also mathematically be out of it.
yeah.
What can you tell us about these two sides and what can we expect?
So LSG have never lost to Mumbai Indians in a league game. The only victory for Mumbai Indians that came against LSG was in last year's eliminator when they defeated LSG, and that was the only victory that they have got against LSG. So I think LSG they know how to play against Mumbai Indians. KL Rahul, look at those 2 Man of the Match awards. He has got 2 centuries against Mumbai Indians. So KL Rahul, their skipper, he loves batting against Mumbai Indians. And LSG, let's not forget, they will play 2 games against Mumbai Indians. This is one of the games, and this will be played at their home. So I think KL Rahul will be feeling a lot better looking at the opponents. And I think the entire LSG team, their record against Mumbai Indians' current form, I think it all adds up to a good background for LSG. They will feel comfortable that they will feel that they are in this with a good chance. And if you look at the venue history, you will realize that uh, I mean there's not much to choose between teams batting first and second, and even the winning margin tells you that teams are making a lot of mistakes here. That because the winning margin is beyond 20, that tells you that there are some miscalculations done while batting first or second. So I think that's what you can derive from this. And in last 3 games, teams batting second have managed to win it there. But before that, teams batting first were winning those games. LSG have a pretty good record at this game because they like playing at this venue because the team is built built according to this venue. So I feel they like playing against these opponents. They like playing at their home. The amount of players that they are going to have, because last match we saw Amit Mishra was playing, and I think even he is
Yeah.
one of those guys who likes playing against Mumbai Indians. So I think, and let's not forget, Mayank Yadav is going to be playing tomorrow. What I am hearing,
Yes.
that their bowling coach confirmed that he's available. So
Yep.
the season was already not looking good for Mumbai Indians, and now if you add all these things up, I mean, it looks like a very difficult game coming their way.
Yeah, I guess the only bright spark for them was the last time they played in that eliminator. Akash Madwal was came up with a really good
Yeah,
performance. Probably could be a time to kind of bring him back because psychologically
yeah,
he's kind of done well against this opposition in the past, so
yeah,
maybe there's something for them to work on.
yeah,
But again, the Akash Madwal of this year hasn't looked as promising as the Akash Madwal that we saw last year. So
yeah,
who knows what might happen. Well, whatever does happen, it's going to be curtains for Mumbai if they don't win tomorrow. If LSG manage to win, they'll go up to third. So lots to look forward to. Anything else to add today before we wind up, Sarvesh? Because it's been an early finish,
yeah.
and we can have an early finish as well today. You can go to bed early today.
Yes, I mean, in a game like this, which ends, because we are used to seeing games which are going beyond 11:30. That's where the penalties start coming in. That's where the captain get penalized. So I think this was a very early finish, uh, and KKR will not complain about this because they got their 2 points with the healthy net run rate now. So I think, yeah, it was a good game for KKR. For Delhi, I think, unfortunately, I think their season is about to end at this point, not mathematically but practically. So I think now, like you said, we are still into 47 game. We still have 23 games to play. I think 23 games to play after this because we have 70 league games. So now, despite that, the top four more or let's see. Last season we saw that till the end of till 65, 66 game, we were still discussing who will finish fourth, whether it will be Mumbai Indians, RCB, or Rajasthan Royals, and in the end, we got to see the final. We got to see Mumbai Indians making it to that top four. So I think this has been that kind of a season where you can pinpoint at things and say that this is not working out for this team, that is not working out for that team. So this has been that kind of season. So yeah, now top four teams, in my opinion, fighting for top four spots, and two teams are looking like they are going to make it to that top two. So yeah, just three teams now.
Yeah, I hear you because we've got still a number of games to go, but what we are saying
Yeah,
effectively is half the sides have no chance
yeah,
of making it to that top four. There's only the top five teams
yeah,
which are in contention for four spots, and
yeah,
that's what tends to happen in a 10-team tournament.
yeah,
That sometimes teams who don't do well in the beginning of the find it really difficult to come back in the later half.
yeah,
Well, that's all we have for you tonight from the Sneakometer podcast. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so that you get a notification every time we load something up. And yeah, follow us on social media, on Instagram, on X, and on YouTube as well. And we will come back to you tomorrow to bring you all the analysis of that game between MI and LSG, and looking forward to Mayank Yadav playing once again after a long, long time. Thank you so much for watching. This is Rahul and Survey signing off from the Sneakometer podcast.